I'm Peyton.
And I'm Anna, and welcome back to our podcast,
Today, we're going to be unfolding social media.
which we're actively using very heavily as two 20-year-old girls performing and creating their own podcast. So we're not experts, but we do feel that we're pretty well versed in the area.
I consider myself an expert,
Yeah,
actually.
Peyton.
Just kidding. I'm not an expert, but I have really grown up to love social media. So we're hoping to spread awareness about it and help you guys overcome some obstacles that are also in the way of social media. So let's get right into it.
Well, we've noticed because I think that we've been in a pretty pivotal role of electronic and like technology growth because even like when I was younger, I feel like social media wasn't a thing. And even if you hear like when these companies were founded and stuff, like it's not much older than we are.
Yeah,
So I
I was
think
gonna say, I feel like it's all around like the same year we were born, or even a couple years after.
after, yeah. Which granted, we were like babies, so like it didn't really matter at that point. But still, I feel like we've kind of grown up with social media. So like we've noticed kind of changes, and even I feel like stories from our parents and stuff saying like, "Oh, this was not the same as when we were younger." Blah 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 blah. And I feel like that's super cool for us, but also super important to recognize that it's not the same that it's always been.
Yeah, I think we have it a lot easier than like how people before social media and electronics and things like that had it. Like I asked my mom and she said she had to walk to her job or like drive to her job. She didn't have to walk. She's not that old. Um, to her job and like see when she was scheduled for that week. It wasn't just like posted on an app or whatever. So I think that is an upgrade that people take for granted. And we kind of just wanted to talk about like the different aspects of social media between players, coaches, and just parents in general, because I feel like everyone kind of uses it differently. I feel like players honestly use it more for entertainment, I guess, and like
Yeah.
knowledge. So I think it's a lot easier now to just look up a college. You don't even have to look it up because it'll probably show up in your feed, like a college that you've never even heard of. And I think that's a good way for coaches to get out there and like spread awareness. But
Mhm.
I don't think most coaches take advantage of that.
Yeah. I think it's also like the players that are trying to like create a better environment because I think that a huge part of a team, and even we're girls and even boys, like social media is a huge part of our consumer, like we're consuming a lot of social media. So if you see a team that has like really cool social media stuff, it's like, oh, like you're immediately drawn more to them. Or like a team only has like 6 posts a year, you're like, oh, do they like, are they even real? Like,
Yeah, I also think it's like you kind of want to join that team more because you want to get noticed by the fans of that soccer
yeah,
team. So like if you have a good social media as a sports coach, then you're most likely to draw more players in because they're like, "Oh, like this is cool to get posted on
yeah,
here. Like that'd be awesome." And
no,
things
yeah.
like that. And we know social media basically you're only going to post the good things, but that could be deceiving and good if you want to bring in athletes, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I feel like also though, if you do post the not so good things, like even if you lose, I think that says a lot about a person and a player because even like I helped run my high school's Instagram when I was in high school, and my mom always made like such huge comments about how it was so cool to see that we still posted even if we lost, and like we took the time to like recognize the positives out of a loss and stuff like that. Where like some programs won't even post anything.
Yeah.
So I think it does say a lot about who runs it. And because social media is so important, it does say a lot about who the person is and what they want to put out there, you know?
You could even see like if you post the losses like that, you could see the growth within like the next year. Like
Yeah.
for example, we played SLU, like we would see that our fans would see how much we've grown by like the decreasing of the score against us
Yeah. And
as
then
the
they
years went on.
eventually,
And then yeah, and then eventually we came out on top. But as the years like went by, we like lost by
gradually have gotten better.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a better way to put it than
Yeah.
lost by less.
Yeah. She just, it's okay. I saw it. I was there.
So I think that's like the player aspect is just like learning about colleges and like other teams. And then the coaches obviously are trying to learn about the players. I
Hmm.
think they're more like investigators
Yeah.
and like detectives, and they're trying to figure out who you are as a person and who you are as a soccer player. Obviously, I think social media they probably use a little bit more for personality, like that kind of thing, instead of like obviously you have your highlight reel, which we're going to talk about later, but
Yeah.
they can watch that, but obviously you're going to put the good in there, so they will have to see you in person, but they do want to check out your social media, I'm sure, just to see like how you are as a person, like off the field as well as on the field.
Yeah, and I think that that kind of goes for like parents too. Like
Mhm.
parents, I honestly think are just that's where I think we get our stalking mentality
Oh
from.
yeah, they are the judges.
Yes, they're the ones.
We're the observers. Players are observers. Coaches are detectives. Parents are judges.
Yes. It's like it's kind of crazy, honestly, but I do think that parents they were kind of thrust into the environment of social media, so it's like they're kind of all into it. And they always, I feel like a lot of times parents will like ridicule social media, but they're on it and they're using it and it's something you can't really avoid. So like even this one of our family friends, he was like praising social media to the max for athletes because he's like, this is such a cool tool for you. Like use it to the best of your ability because you have so many opportunities through social media. And he's like, why would you hide from something that's never going to go away? And I was like, I agree. And granted, I didn't take advantage of it as much as I could have when I was younger, but like I feel like now I use it pretty continuously and I like to use it in a way that I feel comfortable and like want to get out of it, you know? So I feel like
That's
it's
what
cool
this
to see.
example of this
Yeah.
podcast is,
Yeah.
using that tool to kind of
Yeah.
spread awareness and help others. As I feel like this podcast also helps myself. Like
Yeah, me too.
I feel like I actually learn on the podcast, and it's coming out of my mouth, but I'm also like taking
That's
my
the critical thinking that we
yeah,
learned
yeah,
in elementary school.
yeah,
But
yeah.
people are probably at home like, no, they're just yapping. And they're like, nah, productive yapping, you know?
Productive yapping, yes. It's okay if you don't listen. Like we're still having fun, so it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. But I do think that addressing how the different people have different perceptions of social media and how it's changed is super important. But I also think that that kind of connects to how you can create different relationships and find your
Mhm.
sense of communication and community within social media with these different types of people, you know?
I think, yeah. I think, yeah, one of the biggest tools, actually, the biggest tool is the communication aspect of social media, because now we have the opportunity to reach out to a lot more coaches a lot easier. Even now, like it's June 15th is the date that coaches can talk to you. But even before that, they can look at your social media now. So they already have an idea of who you are. And I
Yeah.
think that is an amazing tool. And that's what helped me like commit so early. And that's what helps you explore your options.
Hmm.
But ugh,
Frog in the throat.
yeah. You can also make, we were talking about a sport specific profile, and I made this on Twitter, and that's actually my whole Twitter is sport
Yeah.
specific stuff because I don't know how to use Twitter for real. So just like having that and then like the year you're born, whatever, it's like a perfect tool for college coaches to like follow because they can follow you and they can
Yeah.
like, keep up with your life. They just can't like talk to you yet.
Yeah. I think that that's a huge, and even now it's not even just that, it's Instagram and like TikTok. Like my sisters are 2008, 2010, and both of them both have their own individual Instagram pages. And then the other girls on their team are actively using it. They like every single game they'll post and be like, here are some highlights from my games. And then I think a new trend also is like thanking coaches publicly to
Oh
other
yeah, for a camp or whatever.
yeah, like they'll go to camps and take pictures with them, or my sister's team will have like coaches come out and watch their practices and they'll post like, thank you, blah, 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 for coming out and watching our practice. And I think that that's super cool because you're creating these relationships without even really knowing them that well. And even in my one sister's case, she's a 2010. They're going to be freshmen and sophomores. So it's like they're super young, but already building connections with people and getting their name out there, which is super cool for athletes.
Yeah, I also think this is a way to tell all the college coaches that you're interested, because that is something we talked about earlier in one of our podcast episodes about how college coaches are looking to see that you're interested because they're not going to chase someone that they don't think is going to come to their school.
No. Yeah.
So which that is something that a lot of people don't tell you is that college coaches aren't really going to reach out to you first, to be honest. I mean, yeah, some are if you're this amazing player, but a lot of them are going to wait for you to reach out to them, or they'll send you one email and then you have to answer, or else they're not going to like keep up with you.
Yeah.
But I think social media is a good way, like having one of the other profiles too, like
Mhm.
another sport specific profile is a good way to for coaches to see your dedication,
Yeah.
honestly, and know that you're interested in playing college soccer and you're not just taking it for granted.
And I think it's like the level of responsibility. Like you're taking the time to update this profile. And then I think that also shows that you're a responsible enough person to hopefully sustain a line of communication. And also, I just think it's a good way for people to get a sense of who you are because they'll also attach their normal Instagram. So that also means that they're not scared of what's on their social media. And it means that they're willing to kind of be open, which I think is a super good sign for college coaches.
Yeah, and that's a good like example of how college coaches are the detective because they're going to look to see how you are as a person. They're going to go that in depth in their thinking to kind of tear you apart and realize like how you are individually as a person, not just a soccer
Yeah.
player. And now I want to talk about the highlight reel. This is like one of my favorite things to make because I'm someone that remembers every good thing I did in a game. Like I try to think back and like remember everything that happened. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I'm gonna clip that later. Even while I'm playing, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna clip that later. But the highlight reel is a nice tool that it's basically, if you don't know what it is, I'm sure you do, it's just a video of all your highlights that you make together. And before the video, I don't know if you did this, but I think you did. I think I've seen your highlight reel actually.
Yeah, I made like one real one, and then I started getting a lot of emails from coaches that wanted to see like full game film rather than, yeah,
I've seen that. Or I've never gotten
yeah. So I had to like download a full game and then send it to them, and
that.
then or like a full half that I thought I did well. So like, yeah, but keep going. Yeah,
But normally people put like a photo of themselves and then some information like at the very beginning of
yeah,
the video. So I'd put like how tall I am, my position, year, high
yeah.
school, like things like that. And sometimes I'll lie about my height. No, I was kidding. I would never.
We can
And
ask Dave about it.
yeah, this is
What do you
oh,
think Peyton is going to be?
his first email he sent me. He was like, "You're a little smaller than I thought, but you played big or something like that." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was like, I put my height on there. But anyway, for the highlight reel, you can actually pin it on Twitter. If you
Mhm.
post it on Twitter, you could pin it so it stays at the top of your page and you could see how many views it gets, which is like really nice.
Yeah.
I think there's another website you could post it. Oh, I can't remember what it's
A
called, but
bunch of recruiting websites.
I think
Like,
it's Sports Recruits.
yeah, that's one of them. And then there's like Coach Find, like Find, there's like a bunch of
Okay,
different ones.
I think I did both of those actually because I still get emails from
Yeah.
them to
And
this.
there's also like the NCIS or whatever that you can like hire someone. But I think with social media though, that kind of has given like an avenue where I don't think you need to like hire someone to help you with
Yeah.
recruiting. Like you have all the tools at your disposal.
Because
Like,
like even finding those apps is so like cool because you could see what coaches will match with you on there.
yeah.
I remember Lindenwood did. It would tell me too. It'd be like Lindenwood viewed your highlight reel 3 times. I was like, oh, what are
Nice.
they looking at? But yeah, just things like that and those tools are so much easier for communication and finding the perfect college for you because some coaches would reach out that you never even thought
Yeah.
or you never even heard of, like you never knew
Yeah.
that was a college.
Yeah.
So I think it's a tool both ways, coaches and players.
Mhm. Well, and they'll also like you have to be careful too because we also wanted to address like your digital footprint and
Oh yeah.
coaches will send like spies out, I feel like they'll have a player go and look and they're like, "Oh, like what do you think of this person after looking at their stuff?" Or like they'll look for things and if they find something then that's immediately a negative in your column. So it's like be careful of what you're posting because everything stays on the internet forever. And I think that's super everyone tells you it, but it's true.
No, it really is true. I feel like a lot of people will post things that are like their strong beliefs, which is fine, but you have to remember kind of what category you're going into. like
Hmm.
what job you're going into technically, like as being a college athlete, that is a job. And I feel like maybe that can wait until after college. If you want to be controversial, you could be controversial, but that's not something to do whenever coaches are looking at you and
Hmm.
watching you like a hawk. That's not like the time to post something rude about.
Yeah. I think it's more like the hateful stuff. Like
Yeah.
when you have a book, like it's fine to like I do think it's okay to like there's a very fine line I feel
Yeah,
like
that's what I was gonna say. You could post like things that you are passionate about, but whenever it kind of deteriorates someone else, like then it's like, okay.
like if you look at it and you're like, ooh, that was a bit harsh. Like
If
if
you
it's
if you hesitate to click the post button, just don't post it.
yeah, yeah. Because it's gonna stay on there forever and people send things around, they screenshot things, and if you post something, they're like, oh, look at what this person posted. And then that not only is on your digital footprint, but it's also people are talking about you in that manner. So, and it's what people are thinking of. So that's something that you just don't want to put yourself in that type of situation.
Yeah, and one example that I can think of, unfortunately it's from Love Island, and I just told Anna this before. But this Islander on Love Island, she had something controversial in one of her podcast episodes. So that's crazy that we're making a podcast right now.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the night, she literally got kicked off of the island because it was like spread around. Because obviously now she was in like a bigger light, and
Yeah.
a lot more of her fans were seeing her. And then so other people looked her up and stuff like that, and they saw this hateful comment that she made
Yeah.
on her podcast, and they like were giving Love Island a bunch of hate, and they're like, get her off the show, and then they kicked her off in the middle of the night because that's going to stay with her forever. No one's going to forget about that because
Yeah.
it's her digital footprint now, like
Yeah.
Poppy
Well,
said.
even like on the athletic side, there are so many instances of like controversy and this not ruining a career, but it definitely taints their image. Like
I like how you went through the athletic and then I went through Love Island, I guess.
which you just started watching too.
I know that's why it was in my brain.
But even like recently with Corbin Albert on the US women's national team,
Oh, that was a good one. I forgot
that
about.
was huge. And she just posted she reposted on TikTok some just controversial things
She
about
didn't even, yeah, that's crazy because she didn't even post it, but that's how like that's how detailed you have to be.
because people see that. And again, she is one of the young stars of America women's soccer. So it's like she's playing in Paris and she played for the women's national team and she just posted some very hurtful things and the fans of the organization did not really stand for that. And she went to stadiums and got booed when she got onto the field. And she was wearing the same number as someone that she had just posted something kind of hurtful about. And people were bashing her for wearing the number, which she stopped wearing because it was like,
I was gonna ask, did she stop wearing the
yeah,
number?
I think she switched the most recently. But granted, she also like, I didn't really notice a difference in her play, but I think that no one really knows what happens like behind the scenes, but it's interesting to think that how that even gets handled because she put herself in such a controversial light, which granted that is her beliefs and what she believes in, but I feel like being a professional athlete and kind of being around the same age as us, granted she is just a young girl, like she's literally the same age as us, so it's like how much does she really know about her skills and everything, but just posting and reposting and putting those views out there in a controversial manner kind of was setting herself up for failure when she could have probably just not click that button.
I think it's also like the fact it was kind of a hateful
Yeah.
aspect, and not that it hurt the fans' feelings. I think that does suck too, but it really hurt her teammates' feelings,
Mhm.
which is something that like is going to affect her on the soccer field and as a teammate. Like no one's going to respect her anymore. And I think that's something you really need to think about. Like I know a lot of people, teenagers these days, have that attitude like, I don't care. Like, I don't care whose feelings I hurt. Well, you should care if they are going to be your future teammates.
Yeah.
Like, you rely on your teammates as much as you do your coaches because they make or break your journey in the college experience.
So social media is super important. And it's not even that, like, you shouldn't be scared of social media either because it is, as we've talked about, it's such a cool tool. And, like, even although going back to Corbin Albert and any person that has posted anything controversial, that's them just expressing their voice that you get to have as an athlete on social media. But that's where you just have to be smart about what you're voicing out there, you know?
Yeah, that's what our kind of next thing we want to talk about is just like how athletes get a bigger voice now because of social
Mhm.
media. Like for me, I got to experience going to Nashville and giving a presentation in front of all of these presidents of the colleges and the athletic directors, those kind of people. And I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to do that if it wasn't for social media and like people reaching out to me after seeing how well I can present and stuff like that, and like how much I care about college soccer, obviously.
Yeah.
And this has to do with NIL opportunities too. I think this is a good tool that was just kind of recently created. I think only the higher level schools kind of get it right now, but it is like trickling down to the other schools. Like Lindenwood does have NIL opportunities,
Mhm.
and it's a way for athletes to kind of feel included in their community and like reach out to their community. So if you want to show your sweatshirt, Anna,
Yeah, Campus
it
Crew.
was Crew Chicken and Pickle.
You love chicken and pickle.
That was our NIL basically deal. So
Yeah. Which was cool though because it like created like it was cool. Like people were like, "Oh, you did the chicken and pickle
I didn't
NIL."
even know what chicken and pickle was, and it's like so
Yeah, yeah, and I was honest about that in my application too. I was like,
I put
honestly,
that too. Yeah, we put the same
never
thing.
been here, but I mean, I'm not from here and like there's never been a chicken and pickle here, so like I love chicken and I love pickleball, so
Yeah.
but again, that's also another point of just being who you are. Like unapologetic. Like we were just like, sorry, we don't know who we are, but we still
Yeah,
got it because
straight up.
I feel like that was a good avenue to like representing ourselves well because we were honest about it. But I also think because the NCAA settlement just passed too, where now schools can pay their athletes, and it's definitely going to bring a lot of changes in the NIL avenue of things. But I do think that being part of smaller schools or even like anywhere, where even if you go to a bigger school but you don't have as much playing time or like just that kind of set. I think it's super important to find things like how we found chicken and pickle and find ways to build your brand because it's super cool even when you get older for a job to be able to be like, oh yeah, I did this and like you can use that in your interviews and as experience because it's super duper cool.
It's just like a fun thing that you could do on the side. It's just like I think college anyway is about creating opportunities and living in the moment. So it's just like a fun thing. Anna and I are both ambassadors. So
Yeah.
we get to do that together. And that's just like a fun side.
Yeah.
It's like a side quest, is what we
That's super
call it.
fun. Yeah.
Like we're just like, oh, that was a random side quest. But like we do it every year. Hopefully we didn't miss the deadline this year. We're
No,
worried, but
but it's fine. We might just Instagram DM the guy and be like,
yeah.
hey, we just didn't know if we missed it or not.
Yeah,
But
we get a lot of like perks. And I think this also goes into finding and creating a community
Mhm.
because we're also posting about the chicken and pickle on our like social medias because that's one of like the requirements, obviously. And I think you kind of build a community with the other ambassadors. Like every time I see a chicken and pickle post, I'm like, oh, I might know her. I don't ever, but um
But it's still cool, and they do like events sometimes where they'll have different people can like just connecting and playing pickleball together, which is super cool. And I know other organizations do similar things,
mhm.
which it's different for everyone, but I think it's super cool. And even there was one football player that goes to our school now, and one of the things
Oh
he mentioned
yeah.
about wanting to come to our school was because of the community and wanting to represent brands and just put a foothold into the community. So he has a smoothie at Smoothie King, the local Smoothie King around our school, which is super cool.
That's
And it,
crazy.
huh?
It's so
Yeah.
crazy. He's like
So
on a sign too.
yeah. But he also took initiative. Like I would have never even thought of that to go even ask if that was a
Mhm.
possibility. And he knows that he can do that through not only social media, but he had social media training. So it's like he knows how to kind of go about that. And I think that's super cool. And then people recognize him at the Smoothie King, they recognize him at the games, and they want to come to the games and create that sense of community, which is super cool.
And that just literally happened because he built a strong social media platform and he built his own community
Mhm.
that they can reach out to him or he can reach out to them. And
Mhm.
it does help a little bit that it's on like social media and you can reach out behind a screen a little bit. I feel like I can handle rejection a
A
bit
little-
better. I might just not show my face in Smoothie King ever again. I'm just kidding, but
We'll just go to the other one down the road
yeah, I'll
then.
just go to the other Smoothie King, but and you can reach out to multiple businesses and things like that. Like, what are the odds you're going to get rejected 200 times? Like, come on. Hopefully, slim.
Yeah, maybe, but you never know.
Actually, maybe don't
Platform,
guess.
there's platforms out there too, like websites that'll tell you like what you can get for being a college athlete,
Oh
and
yeah, I just recently found that.
yeah, I was all because it's fun. Like I spent a good t chunk of time last year, and I'm not gonna lie, I applied to like five, and I think I got zero, so then I gave up.
Well, I feel
But
like five isn't that many.
no, but it's still I applied to ones that are pretty common, and I think it's just because like, well, one this is also probably bad. So this is on the flip side. I applied to like the bubbler one, but I literally had never drinking a bubbler before that, and they ask you to like use a picture of you with bubbler. So I used my friend's um thing, like her picture. Like I used her picture that she had used for my picture, but I don't know if she used it to post, but I just asked her, I was like, is there any way? And then I used
Oh,
that.
that's got to be illegal. You just catfish them.
Yeah. So that might have been why, but who knows?
Anyway, that kind of
Again,
flips to the negative side of social media again. Catfishing. Anna, you're a victim now.
in the app, like, yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna reapply. I want to get them.
Yeah, me too. I like Bubbler. You don't even like them.
Yeah, but I have to drink them sometimes, and
Oh, that's
it's
your favorite, right?
yeah, it's
Out
probably
of
my
it. You
favorite
just
out
don't
of
like caffeine real well. Caffeine doesn't sit well with Anna very much.
it. Just like yeah, I just get really jittery. It's not much for me. So
Anyway, next thing we're going to talk about is
Hmm.
comparisons in social media. So this is kind of a negative light. And this is something that I feel like girls and boys equally struggle with, but I think boys are a little less likely to talk about it. And this has to do with kind of body image and comparing the yourself with the people you see on social media, which I think we're both guilty of that.
Mhm.
I always like if I see someone with a nice body on TikTok or so, I'll look at their profile and be like, okay, I need to do their workout regimen. Like I can't be doing this anymore. And this kind of has to go with there was a girl named Chloe Ting. Do you know who
Oh,
that?
yeah. From COVID, yeah.
Yeah, and she did ab workouts. She just did like at home video workouts
Yeah.
during COVID. And there was a big thing that went on because obviously she was like a fitness instructor kind of, so she looked really lean and like muscular or yeah, lean and fit. And there was a thing that came out that doing Chloe Ting's like make you look like a box and it doesn't make you look like her. And I was like, well, obviously she's doing other things besides working out. She's eating healthy that she doesn't really talk about because you're watching her workout videos, not her like vlogs
Life.
or
Yeah.
whatever. And then also it does have to do with genetics
Mhm.
and just kind of your lifestyle, I feel like.
Yeah, which I feel like people don't aren't very aware of, you know?
Yeah. And I was like, her workout plan is just to have you like look your best self almost, or like you clear your mind and try to be fit. So I feel like that was something that is a good example of everyone comparing themselves to her and
Yeah.
everyone getting mad that they weren't looking like her, but like everyone is different. Like you're not going to look exactly like her.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like when I like will look at people's lives and like their workout videos and what they look like, I'm like, well, first of all, a lot of times I'll just look and I'll be like, well, and then I don't do anything with it because also
Because
like
yeah,
it's just basically negative. Like I'm just like, oh, I wish I looked like that, and then just keep. I would look at what they do and then I'm like, eh, because also my life's different. Like
I would literally do it too. Yeah, I'd be
yeah,
like, oh, my life sucks. Why am I not just looking like that? And then like, boy,
I just keep moving on. But also like you have to do that, but you should change your mindset. You shouldn't compare like that she looks better than me because like we're college athletes. We're gonna look different and we have different types of workouts. We have different like we need to eat more and we need to
yeah,
like we can still eat healthy, but we definitely need to consume more than someone who's just going to the gym and just And they're also that's their priority to look fit, and that's probably what they want to do out of their workouts, which I think when I'm done being a college athlete, that might be a priority of mine. But right now my priority is to be a college athlete and perform to my best ability, and
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
that's not like what they look like and what they're doing is not best for me. So I think that that's super important. And then also with comparisons, I think a huge part of it is committing to college. Like when I was younger and people would commit, I'd be like, I'd low-key be a little salty because I'm like comparing myself to them and I'm like, and even especially when I wasn't committed yet, I was like comparing myself left and right to everybody. So I think that's super important because everyone's on their own journey and it's you need to be aware of that and not get sucked in because it's cool to admire, I think. If I'm looking at someone's page and I'm like, "Oh, this is super cool." Like I'm you're happy for them and you like aspire to kind of feel the way that they do about their what you see on social media, you want people to like you want to feel that way about your life. So I think that
Yeah.
you have to not cross into that negative headspace of the comparisons.
Because I know you guys probably have heard this a lot, but social media is something that people post only the good things, and
Mhm.
you're not seeing the bad things in their life. So sometimes maybe you'll look at someone's life that they posted, and you're like, oh, if I had that life, like I would never complain again. Well, I'm sure you have something that they do not have, and
Mhm.
they envy you too. But they're not going to post that on social media. They're not going to like show you the bad things that are happening to them. And
No.
I think that's okay. Everyone deals with their own struggles and it doesn't have to be posted everywhere on social media. But you have to remember that your life is always going to be your life. You can't be someone else. So you just need to find your own happiness.
Yeah, and that's what makes you you too. Like social media doesn't define you, and you should define your social media.
Yeah.
But kind of what we kind of just want to do a recap, which there are certain we think that a big part of growing up is understanding what social media is and the skills, especially as an athlete, that come with social media. So just honestly, we can just recap everything that we said because those are the important skills of what being a or what being an athlete on social media and just a person on social media is because in work, it's the exact same thing. People check all the time what's going on in social media. Your friends will check, parents will check. Sometimes parents won't let their kids be friends with other kids because of what something they saw on social media was.
True.
So,
And a lot of people won't even let their kids get social media because they think it's this bad place. I mean, everyone can parent their kid however they want. And I'm
yeah,
sure their kid would get into bad sides of social media because they just don't know how to work it. But I don't think the problem is social media. I think the problem is being educated in the field of social media. But there's things like child locks and stuff like that, which are really nice and like kid protection things. But I
yeah.
feel like you can't really protect everyone all the time.
No, you can't. And I think just not being scared of what social media is and to just own the opportunities that you can get out of social media. And
Yeah.
then one of the things that I have learned
Oh,
being a
yes.
you should probably use this in your classroom when you're older.
Yeah.
Unless you're like little, I feel like fourth grade, fifth grade maybe. But like also depending on what the environment of social media is like. But in every single classroom, I swear, of my life, there has been this acronym called THINK that is used when discussing the idea of posting. And it stands for true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind. So when you're about to post, kind of like Peyton was saying earlier, if you're hesitating to post, don't post it. And then even when you're coming up with this post, that's why it's saying to think. So ask yourself, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Because if it's not one of those things, it's probably not appropriate to put out on the internet. And it's also, you don't want a negative space on your social media. So just having that kind of frame of creating a post, I think is super important, super helpful too, to kind of just reflect on your own posts and take a second to not just post everything that's happening, you know?
Yeah, like Anna just got in trouble the other day about something she
Yeah. Which, okay, to be honest, it was true. It probably wasn't helpful, but it was inspiring. It
she
wasn't
didn't mean to. She just
I
got
didn't mean to. And it was
I
also
don't think it was hurtful. I don't it wasn't.
no, it was just like a video of my friend and I jumping off the edge of a slide, which you're not supposed to do when the pool's open, but we were doing it at a like end of the year party sort of thing. So my boss ended up seeing it and was not very happy with me for posting it. But granted, that is my own fault because he has preached every single year not to post things
Mhm.
on social media about like just to be smart. But
I don't think you're applying the think method in the correct way.
no, I wasn't being very necessary. It was unnecessary because it does break the rule. Like you're not supposed to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I live and I learn, and it's now not on my social media anymore.
See,
So
things like this happen. It's okay to make mistakes. That one wasn't really a big mistake, so it's fine.
no, and I think that just being able to handle it with grace, and I still go to work every day. I see, like, he
I would
doesn't hate
cry.
me.
I would cry.
I feel like he hates me, but he doesn't hate me. It's just like,
No, I'm sure he knew it was like
yeah, I didn't mean anything harmful by it. It's just kind of the image that you put out there for both who you are and
I think he was looking at it as in like being a boss and
yeah.
not just like he wasn't hurt by it. He just like felt it wasn't necessary for the
And it was his organization,
yeah,
so
organization. Yeah.
yeah, you just have to be aware of who you're representing as well because if you're they always say if you're wearing like I'm wearing Campus Crew right now, I'm representing Chicken and Pickle.
I'm
He's
wearing Lindenwood right now. I'm representing my college.
and this whole podcast represents Lindenwood because we are not shy about it. So,
Nope.
yeah, we just kind of want you guys to be smart, be aware, and kind of understand the implications of being on social media as both a living, breathing person in today's day and age, as an athlete, because that adds a whole nother level of opportunity for you on social media. So, thank you guys for unfolding social media with us this week.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.